everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. Back to talk more crime story. We're doing Season 1, Episode 12. Now, there was an Episode 11, but it turns out it was a clip show. That's right. They were trying to get people to watch this show. They're trying to get everybody that was maybe confused about information. If you were a new person joining the show in like the next episode, which is this one, you get all the players, all the things that have been going on, because there's a lot to remember in this show. And so they gave a big old clip show. They described all the characters. They ran scenes that never made it. It's basically like DVD special features, the episode. So I skipped it because I'm not going to review a clip show. Although, I don't know, has anybody ever reviewed a clip show before? Except for maybe the Simpsons clip shows. But this is episode 12. It is called Hide and Go Thief. And this one's a bit all over the place. But it's got a few really, again, this show is jam-packed with people that you know. You know, besides Dennis Farina as Torello, you know, this episode has the return of Ted Levine as Holman. We've got Lili Taylor. If you don't know who Lili Taylor is, she's been in movies such as Say Anything. She was on The X-Files. Of course, it always goes back to The X-Files with me. She plays a blind girl on The X-Files. I can't remember the episode title, which is really bumming me out right now. She's also been in just a ton of movies. And she's a really fine actress. J.O. Sanders is supposed to be in here, but I don't think so. I think this might be an IMDb misstep on the credits list. But a very young Paul from CSI fame, that's where I think most people would know him, is the deranged gunman in this episode. Also, Lorraine Bracco from Sopranos and Goodfellas is the hostage that he takes in this episode. Another person that's in here is the late Ray Sharkey, playing U.S. Attorney Harry Breiter. And we get a little tiny scene with Andrew Dice Clay as Max Goldman. So this, like I said, this episode, and one that almost slipped right by me, Michael Stoyanov from Blossom. You know, the Mayim Bialik, what's her name? I don't remember her last name. The girl that went to be a really smart person and then went on to be on a really dumb show called The Big Bang Theory. One of the characters from Blossom is in this episode as well. I'm cursed with recognizing people and then not being able to give up on finding out who they are. So let's jump into this episode where, at the beginning of this episode, we have a very young Paul Guilfoyle robbing this diner / convenience store. It was really interesting because at first I thought it was a diner. Then he pulls the gun and he's like shooting shampoo bottles. And I'm like, wow, I guess there was a time when, and I forget that there were a time when people would go to a place and eat. You could also get your pharmacy drugs and things like that. I mean, there's still, like, we have Walmart, right? Like, Walmart, you can eat at a Subway and get your drugs and your food. So I guess it's not unheard of. But it just was kind of weird. So he's just shooting the shit out of the place. And then he goes out in the street, shoots a cop, and then goes on a chase. You keep waiting for maybe there to be more to this character, but there isn't. He is literally just baseline deranged gunman. They don't even give him a name. Billy Campbell chases him down. That's another thing. Billy Campbell in this, the Rocketeer, chases him down, but he takes a hostage, played by Lorraine Bracco. And that one, that did not even register right away that it was Lorraine Bracco until she started making noise, like the noises, like, ah! And I went, oh my god, she sounds like the chick, she sounds like Ray Liotta's wife from Goodfellas, and boom, boom. Then her name just pops up in the credits, and I'm like, oh my god, she's in this too. But they give her nothing either. So this is a really early credit for her. She's just called Hostage. So, whatever. Also, that foot chase, lots and lots. So, like, the running is fine, all that stuff is cool, falling down, trying to keep up with each other. But there is so much reckless shooting in public, on the city streets. There's a scene where they go into a kitchen and he's just unloading his gun at the bad guy. And I'm like thinking, he has no, like, this story was not written to show any kind of regard for the public safety. Now, maybe it's written like that because Michael Mann's show was trying to show like things were different back then. If that's how things were, wow. Talk about innocent bystanders. Like, so he shoots like one of the cops like arrives, Guilfoyle's character, and Krychek, played by Bill Smitrovich, is trying to get him to the hospital. And this is great because it finally gives them an excuse to use the lines, "Don't you die on me! Don't you dare die on me!" I just thought, oh my god, this episode's throwing everything at us. Even a little problem where he gets into the hospital and one of the nurses looks directly into the camera, like like she just couldn't help. She just, because they're doing a very first person shot, steady, like moving in real close up, and so it's like the camera was probably really close and in the way of the shot, and so she just like looks, probably was afraid she was going to run into the camera, so she looks right into it. But it's just for a quick second. A hummingbird, you'd miss that shot. Um, yeah, like I said, Guilfoyle's not given a name. Neither is Lorraine Bracco's character, and he just starts machine gunning the streets, man. All right, he just starts just blasting away, and this is at the point where you start to realize, okay, they're really not going to give this guy anything. He's just a maniac. This is just a maniac episode. So at the same time that this is happening, though, at the MCU, which is hard to say because it's like, meanwhile at the MCU, Captain America gives Mike Torello information on Mike Holman, or Ted, what's his name? Is it Mike Holman? Well, that's not what it is. Their Metro Crime Unit gets information on Holman, played by Ted Levine, that he's been hiding out in Indiana. But they have this hostage situation to go to. So they go down to the hostage situation. Mike tries to get it solved the only way he ever does, which is he runs the cliche of like he's this guy's screaming out the window, "I want the TV people! I want the TV people here!" It's not Paul Guilfoyle's finest moment, but it's not the best writing either. Give him nothing. So Torello's like, "Well, I can only give you the TV people." I don't know why I'm doing this. He's like holding up a bullhorn. And it's like, "I can only give you the TV people if you let the hostage go." And it just keeps going on like that. No guarantees unless you let the hostage go. And then he does the cliche thing. Well, hey, how about I go up there? I tell you, I won't have a gun on me. I won't have a gun. I'll just go up there. I want to talk to you. And the guy's like, "I don't care about you. I want the TV people." So Torello really, once that cliche fails, the writer basically gives up. No, because there are two storylines going on. So Torello tells Krychek and Grossman, that's Grossman with the fedora, to go to the phone booth where Holman was seen in Indiana and see if you can trace him there. We're going to stay here and try to deal with this. So they go, all right, and they go to this phone booth, Krychek and Grossman. And this is just one of the most bizarre scenes I've seen in an episode of television, where Grossman's in the phone booth, and he's just like, "I love this phone booth, man." There's no explanation of it. He just starts to act like he wants to have sex with the phone booth. I'm not saying he's dry humping it or anything, but he starts talking about it in a way that is so bizarre that I have no explanation for it. I guess you're just supposed to say that this is kind of his character, and he's just kind of weird. Because even when they go to the gas station attendant, played by Michael Stoyanov, they're like looking for people, like showing him pictures of like, "Have you seen any of these people at the phone booth?" And they show him Ted Levine's picture of Holman, and he goes, "Yeah." And they point over to Grossman, "Any weird people over there by the phone booth?" And he goes, "Just that guy." And he goes, "Yeah, we know. That's how he is." So I guess the whole gag was set up just so that they could say that line. So he identifies Holman. Well, meanwhile, for some reason, they jam in a Ray Luca scene showing him and his guys going off to Vegas, where Andrew Dice Clay's Max Goldman almost goes full Dice Man. where he's like, "We're gonna go to Vegas, man. You're gonna go in it." I was waiting for him to go, "Oh," because you hear the voice. Like before this episode, Max Goldman just talked like Max Goldman. He just talked like a guy. It had Andrew Dice Clay's inflections without being the Dice Man, but this one just started as he was like talking about Vegas. You're gonna have a good time. Like he started to lose character very quickly, and it kind of took me out of it, but in a fun way. So Mike Grossman or Mike, sorry, Krychek tells Mike they know where Holman is. So they go to the Indiana restaurant where Holman is running a restaurant under Torello's name. He even has a certificate from the county that says Mike Torello, business owner. So he's running this restaurant. He's trying to hide out in Indiana. Dude, if you're going to hide out from the cops after everything you've done, and they're in Chicago, you should probably go further than Indiana. So they find him, and he's just like all calm and everything, and Lili Taylor is one of the waitresses. She gets one line. She's really made up in makeup, which is like something that most of her characters are not known for, right? She's usually a really recognizable. She had so much makeup on that if you didn't already know what she looked like, you would just think she's any old actress. And by old, I just mean any actress, any old actress. And she just has one line about some guy having a problem with his sausage. That's what she said, literally. And so Holman goes out there to talk to the guy, and it's Torello going like this. Yeah, I've never seen you know what, sausages like this, you see them in the joint. He puts his head up and he goes, I know you. That's what he said to him before when he had him dead to rights outside of the robbery place that he got busted the first time. There's a big fight. Chairs are thrown. Coat racks are smacked into people. Punches are thrown. They finally get Holman arrested. Well, Holman asks for immunity, for info on Luca, Taglia, Bartoli, and then he throws in Torello's name at the end, after Torello leaves. But the FBI ain't biting. They're like, you're a known scumbag, you're a liar, you're a murderer, and you want me to just take your word over the guy who just arrested you. After all this time chasing you, you want to say that this guy's dirty. Well, the FBI's not biting. But U.S. Attorney Harvey Breiter, played by the late great Ray Sharkey, gets Holman into federal custody because he's trying to make a name for himself. He's the one who showed up when Holman was arrested the first time and got him released under his own recognizance. Ray Sharkey died at the age of 40 in 1993, the year I graduated high school. He died of complications from AIDS. He would have been this guy, watching his performance, he's playing a shitty guy, but he's doing it fantastically. And if this guy would have lived, he would have had an amazing career, a further career as a great character actor, and who knows what. Really sucks. Because, it's one of those performances, it's one of these actors that I'm not finding out about until way later in my life. Right around the time age that this man died, I've outlived this man by about 4 years now. And it just, man, it really sucks when you find these kind of things out. Like, he was a young man, and he does a great job in this as this slimy U.S. attorney who's doing anything to make a name for himself. But so, meanwhile, the hostage situation, you've almost forgotten that it's still going on. I literally was writing down so much and trying to keep track of so much that I forgot the hostage situation was still going on. So, they go back. Well, after all the disappointments, because now Torello knows that Holman has escaped custody again by going into the federal custody, he's had it with this whole situation. So, no more Mr. Nice Guy. They go into the apartment, where Torello's is basically like, I'm done. You want to see what happened? You want to know like how we were gonna resolve this peacefully? And everybody's like, yeah, I thought we were gonna do this by the numbers. Basically, he's like, well, I'll tell you how that's gonna go. So again, Torello letting the situation outside of this case that they're working right here in front of them, how the whole Luca Holman thing, obsession, changes his way and makes him do dangerous and reckless things. So like I've always said, the bad guys are bad, but the cops in this, they're not angels either. And I do like that. I do like that there's times where you question a lot of what the cops do. Because as excellent of an actor Dennis Farina is, and if you think maybe, because this was set in the 80s, that we're supposed to just go, yeah, do it, whatever it takes, anything necessary, right? But legally and safety-wise, like for the hostage that's in the room and all that, what Torello does is pretty reckless. So he lets the guy basically know that they're out in the hallway, and then you got the cops out front, downstairs, out in the street. So Mike basically lets that guy know that they're there, so that he turns and fires and unloads his machine gun out into the hallway. If he started firing through walls, or if somebody walked into the hallway or opened their door or whatever, or even any of the side apartments, that any bullet goes through anything else, any of those people could have been killed. I know we're just watching a show, but still, if you think about like the reality of if this was a real situation, all sorts of people, and there's a guy from Blossom, all the people that could have been killed. So after he empties his magazine, the cops then are told by Mike Torello to open fire into the place. So again, you don't know, they didn't talk about clearing anybody out of this building, so they're just unloading into the front of this building. Who knows how many people could have died? So they unload, and then they throw in some gas to try to, tear gas or smoke or whatever. But he's flooded the whole apartment, so basically the gas just kind of lands and the poor hostage, Lorraine Bracco, is just laying in the water. And they did a good job showing that he's flooded the bathrooms, the tub and the sinks are all flowing. There's water all over the floor. Not a little bit either. So as that's happened and they've unloaded, this gives Mike the chance to just go in guns blazing. Literally guns blazing. Him and Krychek and Billy Campbell's Joe, they just charge in. I mean, it's slowed down. They slow motion the boom, kick the door in, and it's just boom, 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 as they just mow down this guy, and then he falls into the water, and you can just see him kind of, this was actually kind of cool, he's like, his head's kind of moving in the water, like, and there's the hostage laying there, and they pick her up and they get her out, but they could have killed her too. They had no idea what was behind that door or where she was. They just came in and firing away. So that's not quite the end, because then we get the last scene, which is Holman talking to breiter. And this is where the FBI didn't bite on the Torello thing, but breiter does, when he gives up Torello's name, saying that he's been shaking him down for money. That's why he came and chased him. Was not to arrest him, but to take him down for money. And when he didn't have it, then he arrested him. And he also blames the entire unit for being on the take as well. And Breiter, seeing all the headlines and everything, not even caring that this guy is a known liar, just sees the, and I know the commercials are running behind me, but whatever. Not even caring, he takes it and says, yeah, you'll get immunity and probably a citizenship award. So he's just chasing down the story, and that's pretty awful. And that's the episode. So this is a little bit shorter than normal, but I'm a little disappointed that I couldn't find J.O. Sanders in the credits or in the show anywhere. But let's just turn that off. I don't want to give any ad revenue to some other people for free. So that's Crime Story episode 12 of season 1. We'll be back with episode 13 next week. If you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun. This is Robin Smirking Gun Reviews, and have a great day. And we will see you next week. Bye.